Alright, we're going to do quickly the notes for section 3.8, and this section should be a fairly easy one because it mostly uses estimation strategies and tricks that we have already used. So let's quickly put our little title up at the top. We're going to do notes for section 3.8. And our title here is Estimation with Fraction Subtraction. I don't like this pen. Let me switch it out quick. Alright, so I'll do this quick because we should remember how to do these from those earlier videos when we were talking about estimating. Our big key here is going to be using those common benchmark fractions. I think I called it wrong on a quiz, but we're going to call it CBF, or common benchmark fractions. And if you recall, the best way to do this, and I noticed a couple people doing this incorrectly, is if I have a fraction, like say I have 2/12, what I do is I need to figure out if this 2/12 is closest to 0, 1/2, or 1. Because in the grand scheme of things, when I'm looking at larger mixed numbers, these are the things that are closest to C and they're most important of all. So the way that I can do this is I can write this out as equivalencies to these three numbers. If I'm going to look at 0, it's of course going to be 0/12, and I didn't see anything wrong with that. This one, if I was going to write it as 1, I would see 12/12, and I didn't see anything wrong with that. The mistake that I sometimes saw was this 1/2 part. The 1/2 is not the half of the numerator, which is the top number. It's half of the number on the bottom, our denominator, because that determines what's half of our whole that's filled out. So this would not be 1/12. 1/12 is not equal to a half. This would be 6/12. And whatever I put here in the center one, if I multiply the top by 2, it should be equal to the bottom. And that would show me that I'm at exactly 1/2. And then I can look 2/12. Oh, that's about 0. So I can say 2/12 is approximately equal to, remember that's kind of my approximately equal to sign. Let's say it's approximately equal to 0. Okay, we're going to be using this strategy of estimating fractions, and then we're just going to be subtracting. And I don't think I need to show you guys how to subtract. I think you probably know how to do that. So I'm just going to do a couple of examples for you to show kind of what I want to see. Okay, example 1, it's going to look like this. It's going to say 7/8 minus 4/9. Okay, now if I want, I can just write my estimations below it, but I'm going to go through the steps of writing everything out just so that you guys can see. So 7/8. If I was going to take 7/8, and I would look, is it closer to 0/8, 4/8, or 8/8? Well, 7 is definitely closest to 8, and this would be the 1 equivalent in my little fraction. So I can turn the 7/8 into a 1. My 4/9. Okay, let's look at 4/9. I could have 0/9. Half of 9 is 3.5. Wait, no, sorry. It's 4.5 over 9, and 9/9. And if you look, I can see that if I multiply this 4.5 by 2, oops, I'm a little off to the side, I will be able to turn this into a 9. 4 is definitely closest to my squiggly 4.5, so I know that it's about equal to 1/2. So I can call this 1 plus 1/2. Oops, I see I've been adding too much. It is not plus, it is minus. So this should be 1 minus 1/2. And I should be able to know this one as 1/2. And if you're not sure how I went from this step to this step, you can always turn it back into fractions. That's really 2/2 minus 1/2 is equal to 1/2. Make sense? Okay, if you get it, go ahead and go ahead and do it. I'm going to do 2 more quick examples if you're still a little confused. Example 2 goes like this. Alright, we're going to do 4 1/4. And minus 7/8. Alright, so this is going to bring up an interesting point that sometimes when you estimate, there's two things that it could be, and you kind of have to choose one. So let's take a look at what I mean. 4 1/4. So my 4 I'm going to pull out. I know that I need this, and I need to estimate this quarter into something. And if I take a quarter and I look at what everything that I could turn it into, 0/4, 2/4, or 4/4, I can see that 1 is equally away from 0/4 and 2/4. So in a weird case of like this, where there's two things that are similar, I can just pick one and it's fine. I'm going to just pick 4 because it's easier, and I usually like to pick the easier one because mathematicians are lazy, and I kind of want to get to my answer as quick as I can. I'm going to do the same thing with 7/8. I'm going to look, is it 0/8, 4/8, or 8/8? Well, 7 is definitely closer to 8, so I'm going to call this my 1. 4 minus 1 is 3, and now I have my approximation, subtraction. Okay, example 3, the last one that we'll do with this section, goes like this. 6 and 5/6 minus 9/10. Alright, so I can see a potential problem coming up with here. I'm going to look at my estimations. I'm not going to write them out this time because I feel like we kind of probably know it by now. And I know that 5/6 is almost 1. So this is really 6 plus 1 minus 9/10, right? So I can turn this into a 7. Now this 9/10, I can also know that this is about 1 because this 9 is almost to 10. So I can rewrite this as 7 minus 1 and turn this into a 6. And that is my answer. I don't think this section is going to be particularly difficult, but go ahead and do it, and good luck.